Happy New Year, YouTube family. Ismail Abdulsalam, BeatsBoxingMayhem.com. I'm here with my first video for 2022, and it is going to be on my first significant purchase of the year, which is the Hip Hop Agenda Daily Planner. Those of you who have been following for a while, you probably remember the video I did last year for the 2021 edition of the planner. It worked out great for me last year. I was able to get a lot done on the journalism and writing side. I thought it'd be a good idea to do a video for the one for this year to go over any upgrades and additions and maybe give you some insight on why it's a good idea to consider picking this up for your own planning activities, even if you're not in media. So let's get right into it. Okay, everyone, I thought I'd switch it around this year. Last year, the video just mostly had my face in it, so I think it kind of prevented you from seeing a lot of the details in the planner. So I'm gonna switch it around this time and actually just focus on the actual book so you can get a close-up of all the pertinent information. All right, so first thing you are going to notice, nice little vibrant colors, almost looks like a kind of a corporate workbook. So as you can see, Hip Hop Agenda on the left-hand side, Curating Our Culture, an idea by King Vashti. Now, King Vashti, obviously, you might think is a man because of the king moniker, but is a woman. She's an entrepreneur in the hip hop and media world. This was a fantastic idea she's come up with. So this is, I believe it may be the third or fourth edition of this actual planner. She's been doing it for a while and it's been growing every single year. So I already like the difference in the color scheme. Color scheme last year was cool, but this one to me is a little bit more chic, about the same size roughly. So you're not missing anything there. And let's get right into why I feel this is such a great planner. Number one, as you can see, something that you can take around, carry around with you, not too cumbersome. So as you can see, when you're first opening up, it has information on, setting up your social media goals that you may have, detailed information there, what's your goals, your mission statement, which is very, very important if you have a website trying to grow your brand. A lot of people, skip over these little small steps, and it's good to see it in writing. Who are your followers? What's your audience? What audience are you trying to reach? What solutions are you providing to your followers and make them want to come to your website, want to come to your blog, want to come to your Twitter page, your TikTok, all this information you can write out here and kind of bring your vision into reality. So it's very important to me that you start off with this for the year, with these type of goals, mapping out everything. Goes even more in depth, what hashtags are you going to use? Even breaking down your entire target audience, age, gender, even down the job industry. So this is very detailed, a lot of work that she put in, with this. More information on defining your brand, brainstorming, what do you do better than your competition? What makes you unique? What does my brand solve? And let me say something else, because when you're thinking about brand, you're probably thinking about, an actual business, things like that. But keep in mind, even if you have a day job, you are still a brand unto yourself, what you bring to whatever company you work for. So all these things that you're seeing in here are still important that you can apply, even if you have a standard 9-to-5 gig. They have a section here where you can put down all the hashtags that you use. You can evaluate them, see how they're working for you, what's not working for you. You have a couple pages where you can put all that information in. Editorial calendar. Now, this is good stuff for me, the writer, breaking down, what concept pieces you want to do, themes, headlines, what assets you need to make it happen. So this was something that I used a lot last year when I was planning out articles and things like that. So very, very important here and very essential for writers. Let me zoom in on that. Concept, theme, topic, headline, and also what date you plan to publish. So for somebody like me that likes to procrastinate and put things off, it's very important for trying to get my plans together and what I'm going to do. For those who like their content calendar a little bit more open, you see you can do like a whole calendar map, what date you're going to publish things. I didn't use this one as much because, I ended up running out of space because I would, do so many things on one particular date, but it's still valuable depending on, how you go about planning out your month. So you have enough here for the entire year. I think a little bit more. I think it's up to about maybe 13, 14 months you can squeeze in on here. Of course, you have your standard calendar here, which is great for those who want it mapped out a little bit better. Now, here's the things that make this planner so unique. For those who like the hustle, if you really want to make $1 million in a year, how does that break down? Look at that. 5,000 people buy a product that you have that's priced at $200. If you can get $2,000 people to buy a $500 product, that'll get you $1 million. So I like that breakdown here. It kind of puts it in perspective, what you need to achieve that $1 million, if that's one of your goals. What if it's $10,000? How does that break down over the course of a month? And what do you need to have happen tangibly to get to that amount? 100 people need to buy a $100 product. 50 people need to buy a $200 product. So love that breakdown here. This here, you may want to consider making copies of this before you actually fill it up, because there's only one page, even though I feel it's very, very important when it comes down to marketing. What visual images you use, website articles, what visuals you use with the article. It even goes into how you create a YouTube video, how you make that unique. So there's only one page of this, and these are good marketing things. If you're running a marketing plan for 4 weeks, I think this is really valuable and worthwhile to make a couple copies of these, especially if you're going to be launching a few campaigns over the course of a year. Same thing applies here. You have a daily checklist that you can use as a template for your entire year. Weekly checklist for your marketing, and also breaking down even quarterly, 90 days out, how you can market your ideas and your strategies. So perfect templates here that you can use, and of course modify on your own, to map out your goals and your plans on the marketing end. Now, here's one of the most important sections to me you can go through. Bring your year into focus. What do you want to have done this year? What do you want to learn? What books do you want to read? All that is planned out here, which I think is really valuable. And, and of course, if everything went well, what would your year look like? Very important to fill this out and kind of put your year into focus, exactly what it says. How do you want to focus your year? What do you want 2022 to be for you? And then what events are on your radar? I know it's kind of early, there's a lot that's not really planned out yet, but of course, anything that's on your radar, if anybody's getting married, you plan to launch a business, plan to propose, who knows? You can put all that here and have that on your radar. And of course, you're going to be updating this section as events come along during the year, but that's really cool right here. This was something I use a lot as far as like yearly goals, to have those down. And it also allows you to break it down quarterly. See that? First quarter, second quarter, 120 days, 150 days, 180 days. This is very important because a lot of times I think when we set goals, it seems overwhelming. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm working on a book right now about about organized crime in New York City in the 1920s and 30s. So having to do a lot of research, having to do a lot of travel, interviewing descendants. It seemed very overwhelming at first. And what I had to do is really break it down into particular goals. Like, okay, I'm going to do this many chapters a day. I'm going to interview this many people. I'm going to focus on researching mugshots for this next 30 days. So when I broke it down like that, it became more tangible and easier to accomplish. So I think with any type of goal that you might have that's similar, with your yearly goals, this is a good way to do it. And even more importantly, it gives you several goals that you can put concurrently together, to come up with a bigger picture. So great idea there. And then even further, you can break it down quarterly, so in the next 30 days, you want to do this for one particular goal. That same goal looks like this 60 days out, and then 90 days out. And of course, because, we're all dynamic people with a lot going on, it's not just one goal. You can do that for 2 goals, 3 major goals, and then break it down even further. What are you doing weekly to make sure that you're staying on point with all these tasks that you have scheduled? Very, very important. And now another thing that makes the hip hop agenda so unique and so valuable for me as a writer. Here you have a breakdown every single month of important events that happened in hip hop culture, from albums being released to untimely passings, seminal records. You see DJ Crazy Tunes, somebody that died in 2017, important West Coast producer. Angie Martinez up in that Hot 97 in New York. Her birthday was on January 9th. Then you see, and look at this album list. This really shows you how much work she put in. For somebody from my generation, Smith & Wesson, a classic album that came out in 1995. But even if you're a current person, you see you got Roddy Ricch up here, his breakout Project The Box, Project The Box in 2020, Moneybagg Yo, Quando Rondo. He's not too popular down here in Atlanta for obvious reasons, but he's up here. Future and Drake, 2020 with the Life Is Good, that big song. And so you get the variety. So no matter if you're an older fan or a younger fan, you have something up here for you. Master P, Make 'Em Say 1998. Pete Rock, P&B Rock, excuse me. So the old and the new is up here. Everything that you can imagine. Slick Rick's birthday. What else we got here? Davies, Paranoia 2, Aaliyah's birthday. So every generation of fan that you are, number one, you're going to see your generation accounted for up here. And you can make notes, of course. That's important for me as a writer. So, I mentioned last year I did a piece that did really well on A Tribe Called Quest, a debut album, the 30th anniversary. I wouldn't have been able to do that unless I had this guide that let me know it was coming. So I knew, 4 months in advance, okay, here's going to be the anniversary date. I need to do this research, interview these producers, interview these artists, and everything came together. So for any milestone albums or events, 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 25, 30, it's all up here. Some of the entries in here I've already looked at, go back to the 60s, because, we've had seminal people in the culture that influenced us, like James Brown, sampling, things like that. So his birthday, his death dates, all that is in here, And then even on the sports end, look at this, as the boxing person, Mike Tyson defeating Larry Holmes in 88. So anybody that's ever influenced hip hop is up here. Fat Joe signing with Rock Nation in 2017. A$AP Yams tragically passing in 2015. All that. There's so much you can go through on here, and I'm just in February. So this constitutes a big part of the actual guide, as far as like the actual bulk of it. It's pretty much this section going through all the major events. So it's very important. And, when you look at websites like Hip Hop DX and places like that, they're almost certainly using guides like this to update their social media with important events that happened in hip hop history. So she put in a lot of work to get all this together. It's fantastic. I'm just curious. So December 31st of 2022, Juice came out in 1991. Interesting. And look at that. This is even before my time. Kumo D and Busy B, their famous battle in 81. So like I'm saying, you will learn something getting this. No matter how deep you are as a hip hop fan, you'll get an education going through this. So also here, just to kind of wrap it up, I know this video is getting kind of long. For those who like to fill up the daily section for their month, you can do that here. There's enough room for putting all your daily tasks up here. Also, you can remember your main goals, your to-do list, any songs that you have in rotation, you can put them down here as well. That's a very nice touch. I made good use of that. Also have a budgeting section for your monthly budget. Your income sources, how much is that monthly, how much does that translate to annually, all your expenses, you can put your living expenses, and it's also broken down travel expenses, your business expenses, you see that here, and also creative expenses. So a very, very thorough budget list, and this is included with every single month at the beginning of your month. So let me go back real quick so you can see that, how that starts for a month. So let's say starting in February, you plan out your budget. Let me go back, make sure you saw that. Yeah, so for February, you start out, you have your budgeting, you have a content calendar, you have your monthly goals that you can put down here. What are you going to do for the month? For the next month, you put them all down here. Why do you want to make that happen? It's very important. What's your plan of action? And to make it very professional and official, you will be required to sign it yourself, so you can hold yourself accountable. How about that? Yeah, I just went over that. The daily sections you can fill in. And then importantly, when you get to the end of the month, you got to evaluate. What'd you do right? What'd you learn? What didn't happen? Where can you improve on? Celebrating what achievements you did for the entire month. Also documenting any new contacts you made, anybody that inspired you or who you want to get in contact with, where you can improve, and also the favorite songs for the month. So very thorough, and this is, every single month is like this, all the way going to the end of the book, budgeting. And one last thing I wanted to cover, let's see if I can open this up. You have a section in the back if you're a videographer. You can put video treatment information back here. Let's see if I can open this up with one hand. Cover art if you're an art person. You can also have an index. I use this to keep track of all the books that I was reading for the year. I have a goal this year to read about 50 books. So I'm going to be documenting all those down here. And I think that might be the last section. Yes, but there is one other section in here. Yeah, this one. Just an open space, if you like to doodle like I do, just kind of your creative space section. I think that's the name of it, yeah. And then also a section here for just plain notes that you may want to put down for anything. So overall, fantastic agenda, Hip Hop Agenda 2022. To find it, you can Google Hip Hop Agenda. You can also put in King Vashti. I think it's kingvashti.com. But I'll put it in the description to go directly there. Pick it up. Not that expensive at all. It's well worth it. I think mine was it 35? Maybe 40 with with the shipping and everything. Some other information that comes with it. You get a nice little thank you card, curating our culture. There you go, hiphopagenda.com. That's the website. Thank you for your support, which is always nice. You see, that's where you can find the Instagram. You get stickers to help plan out your year too. So if you have a vision board, you can make use of these for every single month. And for those of you, are spiritual people, I think this is only temporary. I think only the first 80 can get this, but you can get like a healing crystal. So, those of you who are very earthy, into that type of thing, you get a crystal for healing. And that's the place where you can go to if you want to get more crystals. So this was a collaborative project there. So overall, love the agenda. I'm going to be making good use of it. I'm going to be marking it up today, thinking about my strategies for the year, particularly with this YouTube page, interviews, all that good stuff. So we're a little bit under 20 minutes. Didn't expect it to be this long, but I hope it was very helpful. Definitely check it out. If you pick it up, let me know how it worked for you. Hip Hop Agenda 2022. Peace, y'all.